Okay, so before this whole video gets started, I just want to apologize for the quality. I'm still working out some kinks with the quality settings as well as for the frames. Hopefully I can get that all down. So again, I'm really sorry. Hopefully this video is bearable and easy to understand and at least, see. But anyways, what is going on, you guys? Your boy Frost here, and today I'll be telling you guys how to get a little bit better in Cuisine Royale. Honestly, I never really pushed out this topic, and whenever I streamed, I usually get questions like, what are your best like tips and tricks, or just like, what can you give me some pointers to improve in the game? So I figured that I put it into a whole video in case that you are a new player or just a player that is sort of experienced, but you want to just get to know Cuisine Royale a little bit more. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. And the first thing that we're going to talk about is your character. But depending on how your playstyle is, you kind of want to set the mood for your character, and your character does have abilities. If you haven't realized, it tells you whenever you first pick a character. Let's say you pick Clyde. Clyde has a beast transformation, or at least a beast berserk mode, to where if you hold triangle, that for a brief moment he will, scream into the air, and then he will be running on all fours, high speed, and will be able to melee the person that he sees. When this happens, basically he does high damage with his melee, but the only problem is he's very vulnerable to bullets, making him a lot more weaker towards bullets, and you'll just be a lot more exposed to dying. So every ability does have its drawback. So be sure to bear in mind whenever you go to pick your character, you learn about their abilities, and this defines your playstyle because it's going to define on how you play with a squad or just by yourself. And this is pretty important because a lot of people don't really see this or when to use their abilities, but your abilities does have a great changing factor into the gameplay that you're just playing. It's not just as simple as just shooting, running, and gunning. Yes, you could do that, but your abilities could help you so much far. So can take you so much more farther than you really think it does. You can use it to retreat. You can use it to push. You can use it to get behind people. You can use it to slow down time and snipe people. You can do all this so that way, you basically are helping out your team as well as just playing better in general. So the next thing I want to talk about is just looting qualities, and we're not just talking about picking up weapons and just having just having ammo. We're going to be talking about what to grab, the essentials, and to ditch the rest. A lot of people that I see recently have been picking up, let's say, a Thompson, an M1A1 Thompson, but then they pick up a Thompson drum expecting to have ammo from the Thompson drum. They realize that, so they keep it into their inventory. That's not the case. In your inventory, you have a capacity case. You have a capacity cap. So basically, what that does is, at a certain amount of capacity, you cannot pick up anything else. Pretty similar to PUBG, but a lot more stricter. So you're going to need a bag. And if you don't have a better bag and you're just continuing to pick up stuff, you're not going to be able to pick up your own ammo for the weapons that you're going to want for your own, which means you're going to be at a disadvantage of having ammo in a gunfight, which means you could possibly die. So you want to make sure you want to pick up the essentials and ditch the rest, and make sure you're always checking your inventory, making sure every other time whenever you do check your inventory that everything's up to par and it's well fitted for you. The third thing I want to talk about is weapons. There's no such thing as an overpowered weapon, but I can say what are the best weapons. So basically, what I'm going to explain here is just the categories of weapons. Because as far as weapons goes, there's wide, broad variety that I just can't list off the top of my head. So I'm gonna just break it up into subcategories. So we got snipers, submachine guns, ARs, shotguns, light machine guns, heavy snipers, and of course rocket launchers and melee weapons, uh, and also pistols. So basically, those weapons are scattered across the game as well as inside of loot boxes now. So that's a good thing. If you find a large tactical loot crate or even a premium or gold loot fridge, you can maybe have a chance to get weapons from those. And what I can say one of the best weapons are is the AK, the AUG, I guess the SCAR. The reason why I can sort of rule out the SCAR, because the SCAR is kind of more or less a close range weapon, and you can't put a scope on it. For some reason, you can't put a scope on a SCAR, but the recoil will be, way low, and you will practically kill everyone. And I'm pretty sure you just want to balance that out when it came to, gunplay. So I can say those are one of the best weapons in the game. As far as SMGs goes, you can use practically any other SMG, but I can say one of the most accurate SMGs as I know of now is the Thompson. That does a variety of damage, as well as you can practically tap fire with it and still kill. So knowing your weapons, when it comes to this, you want to pair it up with either a sniper, possibly a shotgun, or an SMG. What I do suggest running is a sniper shotgun or sniper AR or sniper SMG, because if you run any other class, it kind of forces you to push people as to be an attacker. And keep in mind, Cuisine Royale's maps are fairly open and wide. So when it comes to those kind of encounters, pushing up on someone isn't easy, honestly. I would say those classes like that, like running assault rifle shotgun or SMG shotgun, will be best for squads in case you are a very aggressive player and you want to get, kills. Like I said, I'm not holding you guys back when it comes to that, but those are just suggestions that I would like. When it comes to rocket launchers, though, rocket launchers are extremely scarce. Don't try to make a class with it, because the ammos is going to be also scarce, as well as heavy weapons like the PTRS and the PZB. Those weapons are extremely rare, as well as the ammo. So once you find one of those snipers, since those snipers are one-shot shots, one-shot weapons, you want to use those to your best of your ability. And heavy weapons like that, you can't really sprint with, as well as the LMGs, the MG42 and the FG42. The FG42 I can consider a rifle-ish, since it's single fired, but it hits like a cannon. So don't underestimate the FG42. Now, when it comes to the map, understanding the map is important but unimportant. The reason why I say it's important, because you want to be aware of your surroundings. You want to make sure that if you're hearing shots, you know where they're being heard from and how far you are from it. I'm pretty sure there's a distinct feature to where you can sort of hear how far it is from you, and it's pretty easy to hear. So you don't have to always worry about, I guess, when it comes to auditory, if you hear shots, if it's close or far, you'll be able to pinpoint and tell. So you want to be aware of your surroundings. If you're far away from zone, you want to make sure that you see vehicles. Vehicles are also important to getting your squad to safety or getting yourself to safety. But bear in mind, you are a sitting duck inside of those cars, and you can easily be sprayed from them, since your teammates cannot shoot out of the cars, which I'm hoping that they will be able to fix. Because it's kind of annoying, kind of dying whenever you're rotating or something like that, or just trying to get away. So yeah, bear in mind that you always want to pay attention to vehicles, and always try to, if you get high ground, try to observe before you start moving. Try to observe what's going on around you, so that way you don't get just completely destroyed by someone behind you because you just weren't paying attention. As well as footsteps. Footsteps are very distinctive to hear and very convenient, because they did a very accurate representation of footsteps. For example, if you're basically naked, what people like to call, not really noobs, but free-to-play players, nakeds or nakies, your feet, if you will have no shoes on, you can very much hear feet patter on the floor inside a house. So I thought that was pretty cool of them to add. And if you're wearing shoes, it's more of like a thumping. It's more or less like a thumping sound. So I thought that was pretty cool. But you want to be aware of footsteps and know what's your teammates, and if it's not your teammates. If your teammate is about maybe 20 to 30 meters away from you, it is not their footsteps, and it is someone near you. If someone is near you and it's your teammate, you're going to hear multiple footsteps, not just yours, and they'll be able to hear it too. As well as, let's say you're by your teammate and you're just thinking that you're hearing stuff, it's just your teammate, honestly. So now that we got all those important things out of the way, what can we do to about gunplay to make you a lot more better? Now, I'd say when it comes to gunplay, you want to try to be as patient as possible, but once the shot is taken, you want to try to be as aggressive as possible. You want to make sure you're giving your opponent no time to heal, which in most battle royales, you want to make sure happens very, very quite often. So let's say you're about maybe 50, 60 meters away from an enemy. They're popping shots. They're not really hitting you. And you snipe them. Boom. Bow. Get a hit marker. Whenever you snipe someone in Cuisine Royale, it's nevertheless 1 or 2 shots unless they have like no armor. You'd expect about 3 to 4 sniper shots before they're actually dead. So I say around the first sniper shot, that's a good about 25 to 35% health that is gone. This is a perfect time to push in with an SMG and start laying down some suppressive fire while they're trying to either take a snipe at you or trying to spray at you. That way you're at a health advantage. You don't want to make sure that you're just constantly trying to shoot someone and basically not, kill. You kind of want to just avoid that. If you do take sniper shots and you miss, you want to be as patient as possible and hang back and try to hit shots as well. If someone's up close to you, I do a thing that's called L2 spamming. I'm pretty sure people do this every other time. But you can indeed L2 spam. It's not as strong, but it really does help. I do an L2 spam with snipers. I do L2 spam with SMGs as well as every other weapon. So it's okay to L2 spam. It's not too overpowered and it's okay. It just basically locks you onto your target. Basically like an aimbot practically. Since there's no bloom technically and it's all on a recoil system, it'll be a lot more easier to hit your shots unless it, just not as good. So now that I taught you about a little bit much of gunplay, what can you do to make yourself more evasive? So there's a lot of things you could do that's a lot more evasive. Oh, I also forgot. I missed out on a topic, and that would be the equipment that you can pick up, like an oxygen tank, Nimbus Forces Protection, Hermes. Those kind of apply to yourself. You will learn about those mid-game whenever you're checking your inventory. For example, if you're using Hermes, you'll get about maybe a 30% increase to your speed. I think it's like more than that, and those kind of just reflect on how you want to play the game. In this gameplay you're seeing, I was using Hermes as well as 7 League boots, which is practically an aggressive just combo, and I loved it. So if you want to be aggressive, Hermes and 7 League is the best way to go. So now, like I said, that I touched a little bit more on, that sort of thing. How can you be a lot more evasive? How can you keep yourself from not getting shot all the time? So if you're new to battle royales, let alone if you're new to shooters, or at least you're not as experienced, there's some things that you gotta know about strafing. Strafing, the term strafing originally derives from aiming in while moving to the left or to the right. Strafing is good for keeping yourself, moving yourself just from left to right to keep an aim on your target. Now, there's something that is called an ENAS strafe. Basically, what an ENAS strafe is, it's an abbreviation that's called East North American Strafe, derived from CD in the Third. I'm pretty sure you guys know who CD in the Third is. He's a god, He derived this term, and an East North strafe is basically a juke. You want to try to juke your opponents as much as you can between reloading and some missed shots, or if you're ever going behind cover. For example, let's say you have a wall next to you, but the enemy is about in front of you, and you have that wall as cover. What you could do is do a couple of pop shots and fake like as if you're going behind the wall, behind the building, to the back. But then your teammate is going to try to go around the other side of the building, which is what a lot of people would do, but they don't realize that you went back on yourself and you was already watching him. I guess I can probably pull up a quick clip of an ENAS, so let's see that. So basically, an ENAS is a slight juke, and it's basically a mind game. You want to make sure whenever you do an ENAS, you're going to be as evasive as possible, and you also got to be as accurate as possible for it to be a truly satisfactory play. So an ENAS strafe is very simple. You just try to move left and right as much as you can, as well as using cover to your advantage to abuse left and right jukes. So that way it throws you off, throws people off of aim. So as far as that goes, there's not much else we can improve on. I'll probably leave that else as like a part two. Cuisine Royale is a wacky battle royale, but it's also a very good representation of just how accurate battle royales could be when it comes to this sort of mechanics. So, anyways, if I helped you in any bit of in a way, just let me know in the comments what else that you think I should say, or what else do you think that should improve people as a whole whenever they're playing battle royales, even shooters. It could be shooters. You can do this in shooters. So, thank you guys for watching this video. And like I said beforehand, streams will 100% and definitely come back soon. And yeah, peace, you guys.